Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back in to another edition, Astros Recap, Sunday evening, 5:38 p.m., June 23rd, 2024. I am at the iHeartMedia Studios here. News Radio 740, KTRH control room here. Background noise, what's being played on the radio, which nobody's listening to right now. But I'm here. Astros, good week. Finally a good week to talk about. Feel like they've been floating right in the 3-3 type weeks a lot lately. Like the entire month of May and midway into June. I mean, it's June 23rd now, but just sort of floating, not getting worse, but not really getting better. Finally a good week for the team. Man, took 2 or 3 in Chicago, come back home, and they sweep the Orioles. The Orioles, obviously, one of the best teams in the league, so very good showing at home to sweep. I mean, you would have taken 2 or 3 easily, but getting the sweep was big. And now they're only 2 games below 500, so they're not quite there yet, but they're getting close. And once you get to 500, that's when you really start to try to make a run. It's funny, last Monday, talking to you, that was my podcast, Astros were 10 games out of first in the AL West, and I basically said screw the AL West and let's just look at the wild card. Mariners lost 4 games this week, or 5.
It's a weekend with Michael Brown.
6 o'clock, yeah. And you picked up 4 games this week, so you look up and they're 6 games back now. 6 games back of first place, so that's back in play, I guess. 4 out of the wild card. But every team's so bunched. I mean, the Astros technically jumped a few teams. I think they're tied with Tampa Bay. The Rangers now have won 4 in a row, so they're a half game back. Like, if you were to lose 1 game, you could fall 2 or 3 spots behind because everybody's just so close there. If you're looking ahead, Boston's gotten hot. They've won like 9 of their last 11, something like that. They hold that 3rd wild card spot as the Royals got swept over the weekend. So they've fallen from the 3 seed out. Also, the Twins were up there. They sort of fell out, I think, as well. It's all so bunched. Like, give you a more clear answer than just going off what I can think of here with this wild card race right now. But Baltimore obviously still is the first wild card by a mile. Minnesota, wrong. They moved up a little bit. They won 7 of the last 10. Boston's there at 3. The big gap is between really Kansas City, who holds the 4th spot. So they're a half game out of the 3rd spot. But a 3.5 game lead between Kansas City, Houston, and Tampa, who are both 38 and 40. So that's where the big sort of swing is. And then it's 4, 4, 4.5, 5.5. So, yeah, there's 4 teams that are within a game and a half of each other. And that's from us, Tampa Bay, the Rangers, and Detroit. And even Toronto's a game back of that. So the big, really, there's a 5-team gap. There's 5 teams within a 2.5 game, within 2.5 games of each other. And then the Angels fall way down because they're like 4.5 back. So, but that's where the big sort of cluster is: Houston, Tampa Bay, Texas, and Detroit. They're all right there in the sort of 5th spot. But 4 games out of a wild card again. We're just getting close to the halfway point here. So it's also good to see the Astros play good baseball at home. Finally. Like last year was a struggle all year, but this year they're finally gotten over 500 at home. And good teams usually win home games or win home series. The prototypical good team in baseball is a team that plays 500 ball on the road and wins a lot of series and wins a lot of games at home. That's usually how it works. The Astros, even in their best years, I think 17, 18, 19, at least regular season-wise, they've been a better road team. I mean, the numbers, they play pretty good baseball at home, but they're, like, amazing out on the road. Like, the years they were winning more than 100 games, 17, 18, 19, they were a better road team, I think, in all those years. Crazy to think about, but Astros also, for some reason, struggle against bad teams. Like, bad teams, they struggle against. Good teams, it's a weird thing. Like, 2021 was one of those years where they couldn't beat teams they were supposed to beat. They won 95 games that year. They could have easily won like 105. They just beat teams they were supposed to beat. They were good against good teams, bad against bad teams, playing down to the competition. So, but anyway, we are happy. I'm happy with what we've done. But, you know, we're still, you know, a ways away here. You get the Rockies for 2 coming up here. You get the off day tomorrow. Play Tuesday, Wednesday, off day Thursday. And then we'll get into a big swing of a lot of games in a row here. So, talked about the big talking points last week being, you know, the Abreu release and Verlander. I can't remember. Was it Verlander going on the IL or getting scratched? Now Verlander's on the IL. A lot of storylines this week because more injuries. Verlander still. We thought he'd start Thursday, actually. I mentioned that last week, and he did not. And there's really no update on Verlander, so I think he's far away. And the longer you have to wait, the more inclined they'll be, especially if you're not doing any, you know, throwing or anything, the more inclined they'll be to put you out on a rehab start or starts. And that obviously delays the entire coming back process by at least a week, maybe even 2 weeks. So I'd say closer to 2 weeks if you get more than one start. So Verlander's not in this rotation right now. I mean, you have some good people. I mean, trying to think here. Tucker's not close to coming back. He's been on the IL, and he hasn't even. For you to not break a bone or fracture or do any damage to the bone, and to be out now, I mean, we're up on, by Monday or Tuesday, it'll be 3 weeks. And he hasn't gotten up to run or do any baseball activities, so he'll definitely, I mean, this is going to be at least a month, I think, at least before Tucker comes back from something that we thought keep him out maybe a week. But, yeah, Tucker's not in the lineup. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think how good they've been. Well, the week they've had with all the injuries. It just, I hope there's more consistency going forward. The injuries, most of them, to the pitching staff, it's like every week someone else gets hurt. And they brought up Jake Bloss to start Friday, a guy that jumped from Double-A, who was drafted in last year's draft. But they, you know, needed him out of a necessity. I actually felt good about his start. Well, I felt good about him starting. He gets hurt, and he's on the IL. So there's been a lot of musical chairs in terms of pitchers being called up, sent down. Nick Hernandez, who was called up after someone else got injured in the rotation weeks ago. He's been sent back. I think they either sent down. I think they sent him back down. They brought a few extra guys, bullpen-wise. It's hard to keep up with the moves daily, especially the injuries to the rotation. And the crazy thing about all of that is the pitching actually has been pretty good. Like, when the Astros have been losing games, 95% of the blame, or I'll say 90, has been on the offense. The offense just disappears some games. And, you know, like against San Francisco, the offense was not good. Against Chicago, the offense was not good. They come home and the offense breaks out. They score 14 runs Friday, 5 yesterday, 8 more today. So, I mean, 27 runs in a 3-game span for this team against a Baltimore team that has good pitching, has good hitting. But the relief, Chicago series, I mean, on Tuesday they get shut out by a guy making his, like, 5th major league start. It was Jonathan Cannon or something like that. Don't know if that's his actual name, Jonathan Cannon. It sounds right, but I do want to get that correct, so we'll make sure we verify this. Yeah, Jonathan Cannon goes 8 2/3. Fromber was okay, not great. The walk numbers for Fromber are never really good. He was good today, and he only gave up 2 runs in that Tuesday game, but the 5 walks were an issue. and lost the game. But, Presley's looked better. I'm not going to give Presley credit until I see a larger sample size of him. Hader's still all right. Abraeu's been pretty good. Bullpen, hopefully, I struggle to jump to conclusions with any of this because it's been so bad, in April and sort of just 500 in May, trying to get a winning record, get some wins, whether it's a winning streak, just continue to win series. I think the Astros, they've won like 5 of the last 6 of the last 7 series, so they've done good in that regard. But finally getting the sweep, that's a big swing game. That third game, if you can get a sweep rather than 2 or 3, it makes a big difference. And they had won the first 2 against St. Louis, couldn't take the third. They had won the first 2 against the Angels, couldn't take the third. When the opportunities are presented, you got to take advantage and get a little greedy sometimes when it comes to not just winning series, but sweeping them. So, but yeah, when it comes to the rotation right now, you got Valdez. Hunter Brown's been phenomenal lately. Another good start on Wednesday, getting the win there in Chicago. Again, super. Been night and day with Hunter Brown from the way he started the season, just getting absolutely blown up to really settling in and doing a great job there. But yeah, you got Framber Valdez, you got Hunter Brown, you got Spencer Arrighetti, and I'm missing one more guy. Jake Bloss sort of took Hunter Brown's spot. I got to pull forward here, but you had Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, Spencer Arrighetti. I said him, didn't I? Who pitched yesterday? It's got to be the guy that pitched yesterday, right? Yeah, how do I forget Renel Blanco? Those are your 4 starters right now. So yes, Valdez, Brown, Arrighetti, Blanco. Blanco's been the best pitcher on this team. I don't understand how you forget him. He was phenomenal again on Saturday, and that's like 3 good starts after a few sort of blips there. 8-2, 2.35 ERA is Blanco. 8-2. Look at it, Burns. 8-2, 2.34 ERA. He's been the ace of the staff. Now, I do get a little concerned with these guys like Blanco, like Arrighetti. Arrighetti struggled a little bit his last few starts. Obviously, last Saturday against Detroit, he got absolutely blown up. Wasn't super good. I think he deserved a little better fate with the Thursday game against the White Sox. But people like Arrighetti and Blanco, Hunter Brown dealt with it last year. Framber Valdez isn't the excuse. But people like Blanco and Arrighetti, I get a little concerned the later you get into the year, because once they get over 100 innings and they're sort of in, that's more than they've ever pitched in their big league lives. We dealt with that last year with people like Christian Javier, people like Hunter Brown. I hope we don't get to that point, but it's nice to have a surplus of pitching so you can sort of give people more days off, and that's how you sort of get past that. It needs to be a gradual climb instead of, you threw 100 innings last year, we need you for 200 this year. It's kind of hard to do. So yeah, we'll wait and see, but hopefully things go well. But you got to get healthy. You still got Luis Garcia probably late July. I imagine Lance McCullers weeks after that, but I'm still not convinced he'll ever come back. And you got to get the people that are hurt healthy. Justin Verlander. Javier's done for the year. Urquidy's done for the year. J.P. France is a guy they could probably use at the big league level, but he just suffered a setback with his throwing program. It's hard to keep up, and now Jake Bloss is hurt. He was a guy that was probably going to earn a few more starts if he just stayed healthy. But, when you count Garcia, McCullers, Urquidy, Javier, Verlander, that's 6 guys I just named off the top of my head that are hurt. 6 guys. And with the days off this week, you can actually go through the rotation at least one time with 4 guys, because you got 2 off days sandwiched in between two games on Tuesday, Wednesday this week. So we'll see. But they're gonna have to call somebody else up. I don't know who they go from here. But a lot of signing, bringing up, releasing. We'll take this guy because the bullpen also, like Friday's game, the mid relief was awful. The mid relief from Sean Duma was actually pretty good, but Montero stunk. Nick Hernandez stunk. A game that was 14-3, they gave up 8 runs, and they had to use. I mean, bullpen was safe today. I mean, the guys they used today were the 2 guys they just called up. And I'll actually get you the names of these 2 people just so you. I don't know if you'll hear from them again, but after Fromber goes 7, good start. Brian King. Didn't know who he was, just called up. Scoreless 7-pitch inning with a strikeout, and then Luis Contreras, guys you never thought you'd hear this year, came up and also had a scoreless inning after a leadoff double. But Fromber going 7, big. Rennell going 7, Saturday big to really save the bullpen, and now the day off Monday should set up your bullpen pretty well for the upcoming series. 2 short 2-game set against Colorado. So, yeah, I'm up. 5 minutes here. I gotta get ready for the news. So, just trying to think of any other big. Well, Perfito was called back up on Friday. Had to wait the 10 days after sending him down, so he's back up. And then Cooper Hummel back down. AAA was the one guy called up there for a few days. Actually got a start. I think Cabbage maybe sent back down. I feel like I haven't seen Cabbage in the outfield in a few games. McCormick could be heating up. Big game yesterday. All these hitters really have stepped up. Like Yainer Diaz was better. Jake Myers had a big 3-run home on Friday. Jeremy Pena stepped up. I mean, the offense was great this weekend without Kyle Tucker. And Jordan didn't do a ton either that I can. I take that back. He had a big 3-run home run yesterday, but all these hitters stepped up really in the middle of the lineup that I was starting to really doubt. And I'll get more into the numbers. A little interesting with the days off, but I usually try to get in at the 81 game mark. At the 81 game mark to give you a sort of a mid-season report card. But the Astros, that would be Friday night. That might be tough for me just because I might be going to Lake Charles. Last year, this actually happened around we were actually out in St. Louis. And after the 81 game mark, we were in, I think, Texarkana. And I didn't have a spot where I could get on. So I might actually do it Wednesday evening, Wednesday night. That'll be right at the 80 game mark. But to do this perfectly, it would be the 81 game mark, right halfway through the season to give you sort of a mid-season report. But we'll see. But you'll probably, I'll be on here before next Sunday for sure. So I'll make sure of that. But yeah, I'm going to wrap things up there again. If I left anything out, please, I'd love comments section below. Like the video, share it with your friends. All the good stuff there is that YouTube has to offer. But it's hard to keep up. But a good week, all things. I mean, I take a 5-1 week every day. Every day. Okay, something wasn't playing there for a second. But yeah, I'm coming up on 18, 19 minutes. I got to run the news coming up. But yeah, we'll see how things go going forward. Again, I like doing this more so than just game by game and just boring stuff. But yeah, we'll wrap things up there. We'll talk. I need to look at the schedule here. Look at the schedule real quick here. Check the calendar here. So they're off. It'd be next Sunday, yeah, because they play Monday. After the off day Thursday, it's 3, 7, 10 straight games. And then you'll have 2 off days in July, 2 Monday off days before the All-Star break. Monday off day, then the All-Star break. So, but yeah, I'll wrap things up there. We'll talk to you probably, I'm going to guess Wednesday evening, night-ish. That would be my guess. If we don't go to Lake Charles, it'll probably be Friday night. We'll have to wait and see. But it'll be before next Sunday for sure to do my mid-season report. After 80, 80 or 81 games will be when I do that. So I got to get going here. We'll talk to you next week. See you then.